Sunday school continue. We are in Genesis chapter 48. So in Genesis chapter 48, it says Jacob blesses Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. So before the family of Joseph moved from Canaan to Egypt, Joseph had already got married to the high priest, the daughter of the high priest, and he had two sons with the wife. The two sons were Ephraim and Manasseh. So in chapter 48, we're going to learn about how Joseph moved to meet his sick dad and how he blessed the sons of Joseph, these two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and how he even told Joseph that those two sons he's going to add to his own descendants, to his own sons. They are going to be part of his children. So any other children Joseph is going to be after him, after he has passed on, then Joseph will take those sons as his. But for these two, Jacob is going to take them as his own sons. And he blessed them so well. So let's read. Sometime later, Joseph was told, your father is ill. That's chapter 48, verse 1. So he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, along with him. When Jacob was told, your son Joseph has come to see you, Israel rallied his strength and sat up on the bed, meaning he lost strength, he was weak. But the minute he heard Joseph has come to visit him, he tried to get himself stronger to sit up. Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and there he blessed me and said to me, I am going to make you fruitful and will increase your numbers. So he is telling Joseph all this story to let him know where his blessing is coming from. That God appeared to him in the land of Canaan, in that city of Luz. And God told him, I am going to make you fruitful and will increase your numbers. I will make you a community of people and will give this land as an everlasting possession to your descendants and after you. So you see, he is trying to explain all these promises God has given him to his son Joseph. Now in verse 5, now then your two sons born to you in Egypt before I came to you here will be reckoned as mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, just as Reuben and Simeon are mine. That is Jacob saying this to Joseph. He is going to take these two sons of Joseph as his own sons, Reuben and Simeon. Any children born to you after them will be yours. In the territory they inherit, they will be reckoned under the names of their brothers. As I was returning from Padan, to my sorrow, Rachel died in the land of Canaan while we were still on the way, a little distance from Ephraim. So I buried her there beside the road to Ephraim, that is Bethlehem. So Rachel is their mother, the mother of Joseph and Benjamin. So Jacob is explaining his ordeal when they were traveling. In verse 8, when Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, who are these? They are the sons God has given me here, Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, bring them to me, so I may bless them. So Joseph's father told him to bring his sons to him, so he may bless them. So in verse 10, now Israel's eyes were falling because of old age, and he could hardly see. So Joseph brought his sons close to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face again. Yes, because when his brothers told him, they soaked his coat of many colors in the blood of an animal they killed to take to his dad, that a wild animal might have taken his life. So he didn't ever expected Joseph to be alive. This is what he's telling him now, his ordeal. In verse 11, Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face again, and now God has allowed me to see your children too. It, then Joseph removed them from Israel's knees and bowed down with his face to the ground. And Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head. Though he was the younger, and crossing his arms, he put his left hand on Manasseh's head, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, May the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has delivered me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they be called by my name and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and may they increase greatly upon the earth. So you see, the same way Isaac blessed Jacob, the same way he is blessing Joseph and his two sons. In verse 17, when Joseph saw his father placing his right hand on Ephraim's head, he was displeased. So he took hold of his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to him, No, my father, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. So you see, Joseph thought his old dad, because he couldn't see well, didn't know what he was doing. He put his right hand on the head of the second-born, and Joseph, trying to correct him, said, No, Dad, this is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head and bless him. He said, No, I know what I am doing. Because the same thing happened to them too. Their father Isaac blessed Jacob, all the blessings of the firstborn. And Esau didn't get none of those blessings. He got only a small one. So Esau became like a second child. And the same thing Jacob is doing here to Joseph's sons. He is blessing the second-born, all the blessings of his firstborn son. Joseph is trying to interrupt and tell him, this is the second-born, and this is the... He said, no, I know what I am doing. So in verse 19, but his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations. He blessed them that day and said, In your name will Israel pronounce this blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. So you see, so he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Manasseh was the oldest. So he put Ephraim, the second one, ahead of him. Then Israel said to Joseph, I am about to die, but God will be with you and take you back to the land of your fathers. And to you, as one who is over your brothers, I give the ridge of land I took from the Amorites with my sword and my bow. So you see, Jacob went further to tell Joseph, I put you in charge of all your brothers. He's the younger. But there is the youngest, Benjamin, with the last born. But Joseph, now, that too has placed him in charge of those older ones. And he even promised him the land he captured from the Amorites when he went to war with them. So these were the things that were embedded in those two dreams he dreamt when he was a young boy. The first one was he dreamt him and all his brothers harvesting rice, putting the sheaves together, and his own sheaves stood upright, and the sheaves of the 11 brothers came bowing down to his own sheaf. That was leadership. Dream of leadership. They didn't take it lightly. And he went on to dream another one. He said, the moon, the sun, and the 11 stars all came bowing down to him. This one even included his parents coming to bow down to him. And this all has come to pass. This is what we have seen in the previous chapters. When they were coming to buy grain, by then they didn't know him. He tried to ridicule them until then he finally, introduced himself to them. And they finally moved down to Egypt. Because of him, the king and all his people welcomed them, gave them their own piece of land where they all could stay and do their farming and take care of their animals. They too became part of the Egyptians because of Joseph. And now look at this time. Dad is ill. He went there with his sons. And his father has blessed him, putting him in charge of the brothers. And to his two sons too, he blessed the second one as a firstborn, because he has seen something in that boy. So you see, things are coming, repeating themselves. So this is what is God's destiny, what God has destined for mankind. No human can stop it. And that is the end of chapter 48.